Welcome back! Well, we've discovered this submarine vehicle, and since the villagers around here don't seem to want to arrest us, and since they don't seem to mind us using this thing, I think I'll take advantage of it. Well, hopefully the controls work now. Let's see if this thing does anything. Okay, at least it moved, but that doesn't really help us in any way. What about this thing? Ah, there we go. I guess that makes sense. We rotated it 180 degrees, and it rotated the submarine 180 degrees. Let's see what this does. Hopefully this will actually make it go. Forward, that is. Just in case anyone was wondering if I intended to launch this thing into the sky. Now, one really interesting thing we just saw there was that when we exited the starting point, we went through the hole in the water into the actual normal water. Now, through the sides of us here, we can see more holes in the water, and they're definitely a lot more pronounced underwater. Well, now it's becoming a little bit more obvious what this thing is for. We're at an intersection here, and to be consistent with my right-to-left approach, I think I'll go this way first. Seemed like it struggled to make it uphill somewhat, but thankfully we made it. And it looks like we're in another hole in the water, so let's see if we can actually get out. Ah, that's good. So where exactly are we? Well, if we look around, we can see our original starting point right over there. It looks like we traveled around here somewhere where the intersection was, and from there we went this way, toward here. Now remember that that intersection had 4 ways. One of them goes here, obviously, and one of them goes over to the starting point. So where do the 2 others go? Well, let's look around a bit. Over there we can see that squatty building. So perhaps the left path, should we go back to the 4-way intersection, would lead over there. And to our right we can see that circular platform thing. So if we were to turn around at the intersection and take the left path, then maybe we would be over here. But what we need to focus on is where we are right now, so let's take a look at this. Eesh, don't know if I'd want to climb up there in real life. For those who don't know me too well, I'm very, very bad with heights. But it looks like we found that structure that was perched high above everything here in the rocks. And from here we get a very nice view of this village. And pretty much every stop along the way. We can see that there's 4 main stops besides the one that we're at right now. There's this one here at the squatty building. There's one over here where we started. There's the dock, and the circular platform. However, you'll notice that there's more than 4 holes in the water, so some of these holes aren't even being used. There's also these levers on the wall. 2 of them are up and 3 are down. Well, let's put them all in the same position. Maybe that'll do something. Or maybe nothing will happen. Maybe we have to look out here to see if there's something different. Well, it's very hard to tell, but if you look way over here where the starting position was, that platform that was previously extended that we used to get to the submarine has now been retracted. Now keep in mind there are 5 of these things all over the village. There are the 4 here that I pointed out earlier, plus there's the one that was over here that we used to get off at this station. Now, in order to get off, that platform also had to be extended as well. So let's go back down to it and see if anything's different about it. Yeah, we can't even get to the submarine anymore because the ladder's right in front of our face. Used to, it was extended out here. But now we can't really do anything, and as such, right now we can't really get anywhere else. If we actually tried to go to any of those other stops, then we would be forced to get back into the submarine because we wouldn't have a way to get out. But if we were to extend all the ladders, hopefully that should solve our problem. Now, of course, whoever designed this thing could have been really tricky and made it such that you would have to put one of them down or something, and one of them would be reversed in polarity or whatever. But let's check our results here. Thankfully, there's a window here through which we can see everything. Looks like the one for the squatty building's been extended, as well as the one for the starting point once more. And it's very, very hard to make it out in the distance, but you can see that the one for the village dock over here has also been extended. And of course this one here for the circular platform, which is the closest one, is also extended. And the one here should be as well, so we should be on our way to exploring the rest of the lake. Whoops, I guess this is a dead end. Well, let's turn around. I guess that makes sense. But this time around, it should be all downhill. Well, remember, last time we were here, it was the right path through which we came from the starting area. So this time we want to go the left path. And if we remember our directions correctly, this should be the path that leads to that squatty building. Well, it looks like we made it all in one piece. And we've got a nice extended ladder to climb out of. Well, this looks like a nice cozy cottage or something. Let's see what's inside. Ah, okay. Well, it's not too hard to see what this is. It looks to be a Rivenese schoolroom. We can see desks and chairs or benches or whatever right here, as well as some blackboards. And there's another one of these cage things here in the middle. Let's see what it does. This one looks like a wind-up toy.
Terekoi danni, ki bayem revat, al royem beetig tavom, ga bodo na gayem. Ram.
Well, we don't really know who that is, but based on the fact that it looks like he's commanding respect, and just by his demeanor and tone of voice, I can almost certainly assume that that's Gehn. One of the interesting things about this, though, is that it confirms our suspicion from earlier that these cages serve as projectors, though this is a really, really small-scale version of what we saw in the temple. Well, we can't read that because it's in Dunny. But we can see Dunny letters around the room. And when I actually played this game for the first time, I thought you had to learn all of these and that they corresponded with an English or Arabic letter. We also see these nice intricate lamps here. And if you look closely, they look like works. Even more sign that the villagers really respect these things. Well, there's a couple of tables here. Let's see what's on each of these. On this one we can see what appears to be the fruit that was protruding from those mushrooms in the jungle earlier, along with a spelling test where somebody spelled something wrong. I guess even in Riven they use red ink to point out people's mistakes. What's this thing over here? There's some sort of contraption here. Well, it shows one of the symbols that we've been seeing around on one of the wooden eyes. That one in particular was the one that we saw in the beetle. We see two little figures hanging up here, and down below there's some sort of monster waiting to eat them. Wait a second. Haven't we seen something like that before? That was on the mural that was on our way into the village. Well, we haven't seen this symbol before, but it looks like a cross between the symbol on the beetle eye with a semicircle and the one on the wark eye with the horizontal line. Let's see what it does now if we spin it the other way. Well, something interesting happened here. We have another symbol here. This one has a horizontal and a vertical line in it. But the guy that went down here didn't move quite as far. So what exactly is this thing? Well, it appears to be a game of some sort. And I suppose the objective of the game is to make sure your guy stays alive as long as possible. But how do you determine that? Well, in a typical game, you would throw a die. But here it looks like we have this sort of thing here that shows a symbol, and that determines how far the guy goes down. We even heard notches, these little click sounds as he went down the line here. So it's pretty reasonable to assume that this game is also an educational tool, provided it's in the schoolroom, and that it's teaching the Dunny children, or the Rivenese children, the Dunny numbers, given that the Dunny language is what's on the wall here. Now, the first symbol we saw, with the semicircle and the horizontal line, moved the guy down 7 notches. And this one, with the horizontal and the vertical line, moved this guy down 6 notches. Well, neither one of those symbols were on the wooden eyes, but now that we know that those symbols are numbers, we definitely want to know what these things are. So let's keep playing with this thing. It may take a while to learn, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, that one we have seen on a wooden eye. That was the beetle one, and that one was the number 2. That's good to know. And that was the number 1, which we have not seen on a wooden eye. Okay, that's 2 again, and that doesn't help us much. Well, let's just keep on playing. And that's 7 again. I'm just gonna skip the video footage of when the guy moves down for numbers that we've already seen, by the way. And that's 1 again. Okay, that guy got swallowed up by the wark down there. So, unfortunately, we didn't actually get to see how much that number actually represents. So, let's just keep on playing and find out. Now, that symbol we have seen before. That was the one on the wooden eye by the tram station with the frog. And that's the number 3. So we've gotten 2 wooden eye symbols down, 2 and 3. Let's see if we can find the others. And that was a symbol for 9. It has that horizontal line that we've been seeing in quite a few symbols, as well as this upside down L right here. Now remember, we saw that upside down L by itself in the wooden eye in the forest with the sunner bark sound. Hopefully we'll find out what it means by itself. Aw, we didn't get to see what that one was. But hey, we got half the numbers down, and hopefully we'll be able to find the other half here within a pretty reasonable amount of time. Alright, so that number is 10. And interestingly enough, it appears to be a rotated version of the number 2. Looks like this guy's gonna die here. Yeah. I gotta say, this is a pretty macabre game for kids to be learning this stuff. Alright, we've seen that symbol before, and that was the one that was on the wooden eye with the wark on it. So that symbol is the number 5, and it's the symbol we have been seeing in Gehn's star emblem all over the place. Well, I suppose this is not exactly too surprising, because we've been seeing constructions all over the place with the number 5, like the gate room, for instance. Now here's a symbol we haven't seen yet. Okay, so that symbol was the number 8. Now notice the symbol right here. It appears to be the number 5 and the number 3 put together. Similarly, the number 7 was the number 5 and the number 2 put together. There's only one number that we haven't found yet, and that is the number 4. But if you think through it logically, there is only one possible answer for what could be the number 4, and that is that upside down L. Because remember, in the forest we saw that number that wooden eye by itself. And here in the game, we saw the number 9, which was a number 5, with that upside down L implanted in that. So it's reasonable to assume that if number 9 is the number 5 plus that symbol, then that symbol must be 4. That is the only number that we haven't seen yet, but logically we can deduce that that's what it is. Well, that's pretty much all we can do here in this schoolroom, but let's review the information we've got so far. We've got the dunny numbers for 1 through 10, and so far we've found wooden eyes on this island with the numbers 2 through 5. 2 was the eye with the beetle, 3 was the frog, 4 was the sunner, and 5 was the wark. Like I said, we've seen quite a few things around this island that come in 5s. Or not just this island, but this entire world, to be honest. So it's reasonable to assume that there's at least one other eye, presumably with the number 1 on it. But we have no clue where to find it, so we're just gonna have to keep an eye out for it. Okay, I'll stop with that. Well, we'll continue exploring the village and the lake in the next video.